Hello and welcome to week 15 of Electronic Media Copywriting J241 Online. As always, I'm your host and instructor, Michael Betker. Here's what we got going on this week. And obviously, it's approaching significance with this class, so we have just a couple weeks to go here. So obviously, we're going to spend some time talking about the campaign, the final campaign. And I've got some both tactical and then, of course, some stylistic sort of recommendations for you guys here to have a successful finish to this class. So we'll start with the campaign review and reminders first. Let's get to that. So here's the campaign for 2020. This is a snapshot of our most recent, most current syllabus. So obviously we've had a few revisions to this based on what we've learned about COVID over the semester here. This is the latest and greatest and obviously the most current. So really this week here, week 15, you're meant to be working on your final projects as much as possible. And hopefully by now you've also sent over your radio script for production with your production partners. So that should be being worked on as we speak. And hopefully we'll get that back by the beginning of next week. So if you haven't done that already, reach out to me and let me know. But I've been kind of staying on top of that to make sure everybody's got a partner to work with. So that's what you're working on this week. And then, of course, next week, as you know, you've been assigned a discussion thread. And presentations are all due at midnight on Tuesday, May 5th. That's all materials. That's your video post, your presentation slides, your scripts, your storyboard. Everything goes into that post. And you'll notice the total grade score there is 275. But that's kind of it. And of course, by Thursday, May 7th, instead of having an individual written peer review, now we're going to use the discussion post. So you'll be required to provide a peer review for each person within your group. Last thing here on this is the final exams on May 12th. All right, so quick announcement here. First thing I want to do is obviously watch this video, but then note that there's also some new content I put into the top portion of our Canvas file. So you'll see this here. And let's go to it actually. Let's take a look at it real quick. Go to the home page here. So if you look and you'll see each of these, this top section here is the updated new course information. And this is where you'll probably just see one of these. So if you're team one, you'll see your team one here. But these three sections here, how to record your presentation, a little information there, and then of course, how to set up your laptop and TV project for PowerPoint is also there, and that's kind of the best of the best. So look through that first. And then the second one here is related to how to upload your speech using Kaltura from your smartphone. So let's say, for example, you record yourself on your smartphone. This will give you descriptions on how to do that with your phone into Kaltura. Now, the easiest way to do that is to use your laptop and record you directly on that. And students also connect their laptop to a TV of some kind. You can do that using a Roku device or, let's say, an Apple TV or anything like that if you wish. But that's generally the best way. And I would say, given that who knows how long we'll be in this lockdown situation, I'm assuming you'll have other classes that you'll need to figure this out for. So once you figure it out, it's going to help you greatly for other classes as well. And the last one here, how to attach files to your final presentation discussion post. So a little short video here I want to share with you guys. I didn't record this. I found this online, but it describes how to do that. So more on that, but watch that video here, and that gives you a clue as to how to do that. We want you to put all your files into that discussion post. So that's new content there. Take a look at that. And here is, each one of you will have this discussion post, and this is direction here. As I mentioned, Tuesday, May 5th at 11:59, you have to have all your stuff in there, right? So it's your scripts, your storyboard, your executive summary, your presentation, your video that you've recorded, the two meeting forms, which we'll talk about. Also, of course, your recorded audio for your radio spot. All that goes in here by midnight on Tuesday, May 5th. Now you'll have a couple days here from that point to go ahead and watch your peer videos, and then provide reviews for each of your peers within your group. Generally, there's either 5 or 6 per group. I think there's, depending on the group. So you'll be on the hook for that, and that's worth 50 points as well. Now I used to have you guys write something out specifically. This is actually easier and better. So I'd like you to give your feedback to each person in your group. So the other important thing here is, and this is something I'm trying to figure out myself, but other classes I've done this successfully. So let's say you're in here now. What I want you to do, I want you to open up and click, reply within the discussion post here when you're about to do that. And of course, use Kaltura to upload your video. And down here, you'll see this attach as well. This is where I want you to put your PowerPoint slides. So attach those there. Okay, and there should also be a place for you to attach all your other files as well up in the upper right hand corner here. And that's what you want to do. You want to put everything within this section here within your group. Now, obviously, when it's down here, your peers can see this, and I can see all the other stuff you put in over here. If that makes sense. So attach the PowerPoint down here as a part of your thread post. So the video first, and then, of course, attach those PowerPoint slides. That video in one of these, in fact, that video here for how to add files to your final presentation discussion post, we'll kind of walk you through how to do that, but it's pretty straightforward. All right, so what's due on 5/6, Tuesday at 11:59. Here's what's due. Okay, first thing, obviously, a CalChair recording of your presentation. That's the first thing. Second thing, like we talked about, your PowerPoint presentation within your reply, your post. And then all of the other stuff here, your initial contact form. So if you don't have access to a scanner, you can take a picture of it if you wish. Now, I know many of you guys haven't had a chance to see your clients face-to-face. So I'm not going to be a stickler for a signature there, but I certainly want you to do the best you can to get that first one done. I think most of you guys had a chance to do that before we got caught in our lockdown, so that shouldn't be a big problem. So you can either scan it, I think that's the best way to do that, or you can take a nice clean picture of that and publish that. Of course, your radio script is due, along with your recorded radio spot file, and then your radio script, and then those two, and then of course your TV script and your storyboard. Executive summary as well. Oops. So executive summary as well, written to your client, which we'll talk about, and then your peer critique. Now, you obviously, like I said before, your peer critiques are going to be within your threads. So you want to give a peer critique to each of your partners within your group. Client binders. Now, the other thing about this class we're going to have to kind of rethink here maybe is what do you hand to the client at the end of this? Now, obviously, we're likely going to still be in lockdown at the end of the semester, so what I want you to do is still kind of plan for this. I'm not going to grade you on this. Obviously, it's up to you how you do this, but in good faith, I would hope you guys would be interested in doing this as a thank you at minimum to your clients, and frankly, selfishly, as something you might want to do to possibly foster a connection with them down the road with business in mind. So the binder obviously can go to Walmart, or you can go to Walgreens and get a cheap 3-ring binder, and all you want to put in there is your radio script, your TV script, your storyboard, a color copy of that, and then your executive summary. Be sure that your executive summary has current contact information, or somewhere you've got contact information where they can get a hold of you. So I would say not using your university address, but a personal address, an email, and a phone number, so they can get in touch with you if they want to work with you on other things. So that's the client binders. All right. That's in a nutshell kind of what we want to do here, and obviously that's due next week starting on Tuesday. So you should be working hard on getting all of these things here, all of these items prepared. And I've given you good feedback, I think, originally on the stuff you turned in on 421, so hopefully you guys have a good leg up on that. Try not to make those tactical mistakes, things like script format issues and other stuff. To be verbs, right? We want to get rid of all that stuff before we go to production. All right, let's talk briefly about presentation tips. This is some just thoughts for you guys here as you consider recording your presentations. So 7 to 10 minutes, first thing I want to say, right? If you do it just a couple minutes, it's going to be a little too short. If you do a 2-minute presentation, I'm going to know that you didn't really plan for this. So usually a good presentation takes around that length of time. So that's one thing. So it's too long to wing otherwise. Content. Introduce your client. What do they do? Tell me a bit about the business. Again, this is all conversational, right? So start out with that. Tease us a bit. Don't just go right into your ads. Build up to it a little bit. Talk about what happened. How did you handle COVID? How did you handle your day-to-day sort of activities, and then how did you work with the client? And then, of course, when you're ready, usually about 2 to 3 minutes in, people start presenting their radio and TV ad, okay? Often you want to also discuss items that you didn't use and why. And usually we have you when you have the preliminary pitch. That's where you kind of come up with some crazy ideas maybe. And ultimately you make a decision, right? You're going to make one campaign which includes one radio spot and one TV spot. So talk about how you got there, right? Along the way, share stories of your interaction with the client. And this is kind of part of this as well. When you are out in the field, whether you're running for yourself as an entrepreneur or your own business, or if you're working for an agency, either way, you're going to interact with the client on some level. So tell me about those stories. How did that go? What did you learn from that? What worked well, and what would you do differently next time? These are all things you can use as a part of the end of your presentation, right? So Talk about what you've learned. Talk about what worked well. What things would you do differently? What did you think about the project itself? Did you honestly find it useful, helpful? All right, some tactical things about your presentation. By and large, make eye contact with the camera, i.e. your audience. Now, I've asked folks to record themselves presenting to whomever you're cohabitating with here for COVID, the lockdown. Now, if you have just a house pet, obviously that's going to work just fine. But if you got people that you're working with, get them to, or living with rather, get them to sit with you and create an audience sort of environment. So usually then what you want to do is turn the camera on your audience and then come back to you and then commence with your presentation. But make eye contact either way with your clients and your audience. I'd say that short note cards work best, but I wouldn't even use those. I would say when you get into the agency situation, you're presenting, note cards are a no-no. So I would not even use those. What I would do is have a PowerPoint and use bullet points, no more than 3 per slide, to use that as a reminder. I call those anchor points within your presentation that then you can turn and talk about. And if you practice it 10 times, and by the way, you should practice these things, each time might be a little different with these bullet points, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. What you want to do is have a flow of conversation versus reading things verbatim. Your appearance should be professional. Obviously, it's it's part of the grading procedure here, so dress professionally. Where collared shirt, corporate casual with collared shirt at minimum, gents, and something nice. Ladies, some kind of nice top or something along those lines is what I'm looking for. I'm not going to be looking for suits or pantsuits or anything like that, but dress like you would for a formal interview. All right, we'll talk about the executive summary. It must be written to the client. Usually it's about 2 pages. We've kind of beat this down, I think, pretty well here, but again, it's usually 2 pages. You want to thank them throughout and organize them by headings. So things like target audience, needs and goals, radio ad, TV ad, effectiveness of the campaign generally are all buckets you could talk about. And that's sort of the summary there. But look at those examples I've given you. And then, of course, you want to write something personal to the client, him or herself. All right, last couple slides here. So peer critiques is part of this as well. Obviously, it's a part of the thread now. It used to be where I had you guys write this and publish this as a separate line item. Just put this in here with everything else, and obviously it's within your threads. So take these questions here and look at each of your peers' videos, and then you'll have a couple days to get those done. But answer these questions, right? First, who's the speaker? What's the client name? And you'll do it underneath their video, so you'll give them their feedback. First question is, how would you rate the overall campaign? Writing, creativity, and strategy, 3 to 5 sentences. How would you rate their presentation skills? So did they do a nice job? Did they, present well? And of course their dress as well. So each of these here, and kill them with kindness, but also give them some constructive feedback. Parting thoughts here. A couple of things I want to just leave with you guys before I part ways myself. Don't wait for the last minute. That's the first thing here, and obviously there's a lot going on with this project, lots of moving parts. So just take stock in what you've got and what you need to get done. So don't wait till the last minute and scramble to get it all done. And then practice. That's the key. Now, I don't want you guys to sweat this too much, but certainly the more times you go through this before you record it and publish the recording, the better off you're going to be. But practicing usually helps that quite a bit. And the thing that this helps practice is being conversational. It allows you then to be more in the moment, and you're not reading slides as much, and it's more of a direct conversation with your audience is what you want there. Last thing here, be fun, have fun, and be enthusiastic about your work. No matter what it is, be excited about the client and the products and the work you've done for that person. So, and then that will give you a really good grade if you do all those things. All right, that's all I got for you guys this week. Let me know if you have any questions. Obviously, things kick off in earnest next week, Tuesday. So in other words, you got to get your stuff done by Tuesday at midnight. So these are the things. There we go. Presentation of your recording of your presentation using Kaltura, the PowerPoint presentation beneath your reply, and then all of this stuff here. Okay. All right. That's all I got for you guys. Good luck with everything, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye.